2009. Whether we'll get there is anybody's guess, but some excellent scoring, not just from the rest of the competitors here, but in particular from Jamie, 7th of the campaign so far. And Ken, John and Stephen, we've been talking about men who are going to carry the mantle of Hendry and the others, and this young fella, Jamie Jones, is a star in the making, clearly.
He is a star, and how much he's enjoying himself out there and expressing himself. He's playing wonderful snooker, commentated on him yesterday, and he's shown a lot of determination, and for a debutant, it's unbelievable how well he's accustomed and acclimatised to the crucible.
John, we saw yesterday at the start of this match, in fact we commented on it several times, that he looked just a little bit rabbit in the headlights in the first couple of frames of the quarter-final, as you'd expect. How well has he adapted to the conditions of this particular experience?
Yeah, he's settled in very well. The word I'd use about him is feisty. Yeah. I think he's a real feisty competitor. I think even when he gets behind, he manages to find something from somewhere. Very good competitor, good in amongst the balls. I mean, to make consecutive centuries like that to get back in the match shows you've got a bit of class as well.
Stephen, have you had any dealings with him of late in your career?
No, but I think the last 3 tournaments, he qualified for the finals of the Players' Tour Championship. Yes. Then he qualified, I think, for the China Open, and now he's qualified for here. So he's obviously grown in confidence. He doesn't want the season to end now. He's just growing and growing in confidence and getting better and better. In
fact, I believe he actually beat John Higgins on the way in one of those as well. So he's clearly not afraid of some of the bigger champions, obviously. Shall we get back into this one? Poised at 6 frames apiece. This is frame 13, and it's Jones to play. He's trailing this time by 21.
Of course, the pink went. Once again, when you're playing slow shots, a relatively slow shot, angled cuts into the middle, it always seems like you're risking the ball can roll off a fraction.
One.
That was struck as positive as you could ask for, and the correct side of the blue. Still going to be tough to get over the line in this frame. Bit short of pace.
6.
What can he manufacture? Can he shift a red out and keep on the black and pink? Or does the natural line of the cue ball go into the pink and black?
Well, the half-ball kiss on the red was perfect. Strange old match this, you know, because you've got seeded player Carter playing world number 36, and at the moment the qualifier is doing all the big scoring. Carter is struggling, as you can see.
Carter's 7.
Sometimes the easiest pots become a little bit more difficult when you're trying to do something with the cue ball, and where that red has finished up means that Jamie Jones can split them all up and probably be on one of either pink or black.
One.
Well, I think I'd have liked to have hit that harder, blasted at it. He may not have ended up on exactly the same position, but big pot. Well, Neil, you've been doing more commentary than me this week, and they seem to be hugging that top rail on this table, don't they?
Yeah, but that one was touching it, wasn't it? And when they're absolutely bang on there, they seem to hold the cushion on most tables, I suppose. But yeah, they do go in. Never in doubt. That last shot. There it is. Just stayed right along that cushion. Never left it.
Another big pot. Beautiful.
8.
Do you know what I like about Jamie Jones' cue action under pressure? He doesn't pull the cue back very far. Some players have more of a pullback, more distance, and that's when the cue can go offline. But he's very compact on a shot like that, and under pressure,
14.
it really can cut down the error.
15.
Well, he may have got a kick there, and I think he was most worried that he thought the red was going to stay over the pocket and not reach. So that would have probably driven Ali Carter slightly mad, sitting there thinking that he was about to return to the table, but it wasn't intentional.
Well, that was always a risk, playing that shot to go around the back. He had the black he could have
21.
played to stun across the table and guaranteed more position on the red. Tried to get around the back of it. He's given Ali Carter a lifeline. Could consider himself slightly unlucky that it's betwixt and between. But I think the black was an option.
It kind of looks an easier shot to the middle pocket, this, but he's playing it into the corner. That'll take him up the table. It would possibly be a frame-winning chance if this drops in. It was always at the bottom
Jones,
jaw,
21.
I'm afraid. And they've not been dropping from that part of the pocket. He's a bit unlucky to finish where he did.
One.
So the brown cannon into the yellow to push it towards the corner. Worst outcome was that it goes tight on the cushion.
5.
All that means is he's going to be a bit further away from the green than he wanted. He can't do so much with the cue ball. He's kept the cue ball away from the cushion, but he's a bit straighter on this green, so it's not clear cut. Of course, he needs the brown.
Played it well enough. This is the one he wants, though. I think he'll be playing to not get on the blue. His frame ball. And he avoided snooking himself. Just feel that this was a big frame. I know we always talk about them, but it was Jamie Jones' chance to go in front for the first time in the match.
Ali Carter 14.
Well, barring snookers, Carter will stay in front, 7-6.
Yes, that was indeed enough to put Carter over the line, 7-6. And the former Welsh Open and Shanghai Masters champion won the next as well to make it 8-6. So into the penultimate frame of the session we go. This is frame 15.
Thank you. Frame 15. Ali Carter to break.
So after a bit of turbulence, the seat belt signs have been switched off. And a chance for Ali Carter, the captain, to forge ahead.
No.
Well, Ali Carter cued that one in beautifully, and he's nicely on the black. Saying he's not been scoring anywhere near as heavily as Jamie Jones. Highest break of 77 for Ali Carter, 138 for Jamie Jones. Two other big centuries as well.
Nine.
But the scoreline is what counts. 8-6 Carter.
$16. $17.
Good shot. That was why he played the pink and not the black. The cannon was there to nudge one red out and develop the other one as well.
23. $24.
Same story, not many reds out in the open. He'd like to develop a few. Just screw into them here, not very firmly, I don't think. Very good shot, classy shot there, just taking that one red.
30. $31.
He had a bit of a double take there because there's not much angle on this black. Wanted to be just a bit lower down with the cue ball to just stun up for the next red or two which are available. He's played that one perfectly. I think he's on the red below the pink. That would be handy. Yep.
38.
Yes, that's a little bonus.
39.
This would be a nice frame to win, especially in one visit.
46. 47. 54. 55.
And they're just off straight, which is good. I think he'll be playing with top and into the reds here, trying to get something out in the open again. Not bad. It's on the red he's closest to. And the way he's made this break, he's taken out a red or two on a few occasions, but all the time he's been in control.
$62. 68. 69.
Could be the second highest break of the tournament coming up here, I think.
$75. 76.
It's got that feel to it. He must be feeling a lot happier now with his game.
83.
Oh well.
53 and the third.
Yeah, not the end of the world. It would have been a big break, but we've had a 147 in the tournament already. More importantly, it's another frame for Ali Carter. He's now 9-6 up.
And Carter was indeed in charge in the last frame of the session as well, but in potting the brown he went in off, and Jones cleared the remaining colours to reduce his arrears to 7-9. So that's how it finished, 9-7 in Carter's favour, and they will return this evening for a barnstorming quarter-final. What a climax in prospect for that one. Well, John, Ken and I are here right in the heart of the Crucible ahead of the live play this afternoon. I say a barnstormer, that has all the hallmarks of a close finish tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic match. Both players are really going for it and producing a lot of great quality. A lot of close match, a lot of close frames, but a lot of high-quality snooker as well. And there's a lot of snooker left in that match, no doubt.
Did you expect it to be quite so close, John?
I think, as I say, I think he's a very gritty competitor, Jamie Jones. He's one of those who keeps hanging around. I don't think he makes it easy for you. You've got to beat him. For Ali Carter, well, he'd be disappointed he didn't go 10-6, but if he looks at it logically, he was he's in front 2 frames starting the session. He's in front going into the final session 2 frames front. He's made no ground up.
Yeah. OK, all right, well, that will be enjoying that one later, of course, at 7 o'clock when it resumes. But, you know, there's still a lot of reaction coming in from Stephen Hendry's decision to retire last night. The latest piece of information we've got, and indeed quote, comes from Neil Robertson, the 2010 champion.
He's been all about sort of winning throughout his career. I just think maybe it's just a little bit of a shame that maybe I think if he'd maybe announced it before this tournament, I think the players and the crowd could have given him like a really good sending off and a great ovation, I think, for every match. They did anyway, but yeah, but I think that you know, a lot of credit has to go to Stephen for that, because, you know, sort of respect to his opponents and that as well. So yeah, you know, obviously the greatest champion we've ever had in the game, most successful player, and you know, I think I speak on behalf of all the players and everyone that we all wish him well.
Well said by Neil. And ladies and gentlemen, before we get into our live action this afternoon in front of a full house, we thought it only fitting that after his announcement last night that took many people by surprise in the sport, that Stephen Hendry is hanging up the cue for good, that he should be allowed to take a bow on the stage he's graced for 27 years. And in that time, he's made 127 centuries, 3 maximums. He's played 90 matches here and won the world title a record 7 times. More than a snooker player, he's one of the greatest sportsmen ever to emerge from Scotland and indeed Great Britain. Ladies and gentlemen, here in the Crucible, will you welcome the best of the very best, Mr. Stephen Hendry. So a fond farewell to the stage upon which he starred since he was a 17-year-old, and goodbye to the sport in which he set countless records, many of which will never be broken. So great scenes here in the Crucible this afternoon, pretty emotional scenes as well, and only fitting that this crowd should be allowed to say farewell to one of the game's greats. But the championship goes on, and obviously we have some wonderful live action this afternoon featuring 2 men, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Neil Robertson, who of course were inspired to play the game by Stephen Hendry and others. His legacy will go on and on, obviously. And now they know, these 2 fellas, also what it takes to win the world title, and what a quarter-final they have so far produced.
Yeah, a couple of years ago I put a lot down to the fact that I actually had something to do in between sessions, especially when the tournament gets down to the semi-finals and final stages. You know, the last thing you want to be doing during an interval or during mid-session break is to think about snooker. I always loved playing video games, you know, all that sort of stuff, and Joe Perry and Mark Davis will eat about 16 creme eggs while they chill out and watch DVDs. So I think it's really important to find something that you know, you can do in between sessions. Massive Chelsea fan. Yeah, I think any of the doubters that thought I jumped on the bandwagon a few years ago, I definitely proved them wrong the other night when we beat Barcelona to get through in the final of the Champions League. I screamed my head off when Torres scored the winner. And Michaela Tab actually came in and said that she could actually hear me from inside the Crucible Arena, and you know, so I had to sort of keep it down. I think my form's been fantastic. I think throughout all the season, this has definitely been my most consistent year coming into a World Championship. So I'm coming into this as probably one of the form players, and I've played really well in the first 2 matches. Ronnie's probably one of those few players like, you know, Hendry and John Higgins that, you know, he's one of the real big time sort of players that, you know, any player sort of, it's a dream sort of playing them, especially at the Crucible. Most enjoyable thing about Ronnie's game is how quickly he can score and just how easy he makes the game look. I think, you know, if you're watching Ronnie O'Sullivan play on TV, you'd think that snooker was the easiest game in the world, and I think that's probably, in my opinion, what makes him probably the best break builder that's ever played. The way I just look at it, I'm 3 matches away from winning the tournament, so there's not that pressure of, you know, will I ever have a chance to win a world title? You know, I've done it before, so being Australia's first ever world champion, and you know, I think I was 28 at the time when I won it, so you know, you can't really, it's not as if I was maybe 21, 22 and I'd have a lot more opportunities. You know, I think a snooker player's best period in his career is, you know, probably from his early to mid-late 30s. But, you know, to have won it, to put that behind me, I believe I can go on and win, you know, at least try and win a couple more now.
O'Sullivan. He got one chance and he took it. We're 1-all.
Ronnie will be disappointed with that.
And that's what you've got to do. It's all square.
Clean as a whistle.
And they're all square again. 3 each. The blue will be enough to leave Neil eating a snooker. Well, what has he done there? Where's the blue going to finish? Is he going to fluke the snooker? Well, I'll tell you what, it's amazing. The balls never seem to forgive you. When you make an easy mistake,
plays it like that, chance he's going to leave the potter.
That's right in the centre of the pocket. 5-3 to the Australian.
Well, all the players who entered the Crucible here this year be hankering for a one-table situation, and that's exactly what we've got today. A round early for the Rocket and the gritty Aussie, because, of course, it's finished over there. People who've bought the tickets looking to see the Maguire or Hendry match, I'm sure they won't be too disappointed to see what should be an absolute classic this afternoon. Rob, they're all yours.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We've just said goodbye to one legend, but 2 players waiting in the wings have yet to complete their legacies. What a cracking session this will be here. It's quarter-final time at the Betfred.com World Snooker Championship. 2 of the very best waiting in the wings. So let's get the boys on the base. Please welcome the most naturally gifted player ever to grace the game. At times, he has been sublime in this championship. He dispatched Mark Williams in style in the last round, bidding for a 9th Crucible semi-final. The 3-time champion of the world. Blink and you'll miss him. The Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan. And his opponent, he came over from Australia 9 years ago with barely a penny in his pocket. Now he is one of this great game's leading lights. Winner of 6 ranking event titles, world champion here in 2010. Can you hear the thunder from down under? Neil Robertson.
And it seems fitting that Ronnie and Neil have the floor to themselves this afternoon, doesn't it? Everybody wants to see this one, including Terry Griffiths and John Virgo. What an afternoon it's already been, guys.
Yes, I think, as you said, Hazel, very emotional seeing Stephen come out like that. And, well, as Rob Walker said, these are 2 players who've still got plenty of snooker left in them. And what an afternoon of snooker this could be. Big, big session this, particularly you feel, for Ronnie. Whenever you start a session 2 frames behind, it's imperative you get a good start. But as we've said and seen so many times with Neil Robertson, he is now absolutely the real deal. Great potter, safety play, break building. He's got it all.
Yes, in my opinion, the best match player we've got on the circuit at the moment. I mean, John Higgins is still up there, but he hasn't played so well this year. Neil seems to be threatening most tournaments. Winning the Masters this year, of course, he done well in the PTC events.
Got to be a little bit careful with this one. Could possibly leave a red to the middle pocket. But he feels that nestling into them like that, Neil will be hampered, so he won't take on the red that's in the open. It's a calculated risk.
So Neil Robertson is comfortable at the moment, 5-3 in front, and I felt yesterday that though Ronnie O'Sullivan played a lot of good safety, Neil is a little bit more comfortable in that type of game than Ronnie. Of course, when Ronnie gets in amongst the balls, well, he's a bit stronger at that type of game than Neil Robertson. It was a good matchup.
Be disappointed there, Neil, to have caught the brown full in the face. Easy return now for Ronnie. When you leave these players with their hand on the table, you can expect to be in a little bit of bother when you come back. And that could be the case here. Is there a path back to balk?
Thank you, Neil.
Neil Robertson doesn't seem to look disturbed, whether he's on the table or sitting in his seat. He's got that sort of ears about him, and you see Hawkeye showing you there's very little option there unless he swerves around something. Not sure if the middle pocket's just about in his way to play this single red on the right hand side of the table. So he's giving this shot plenty of thought, just coming up to 1 minute. So he's chosen to swerve around the green to catch this red thin. There's danger in this one.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
Well, I suppose in a way better to go in the pocket than rattle in the jaws and stay at this end. But swerving in like that, it was always going to bring balls into play. Test of the cueing of Ronnie here. The black's not available. Doesn't appear the pink is, so he's got to go back up the table for the blue, you would feel. And struck that absolutely beautifully. An inch perfect on the blue.
His long potting has certainly improved since we've seen a different type of Ronnie. He seems to be enjoying his snooker more, and with that come his long potting. It was really hurting him at one time for a few years. He was going down to long pots more or less knowing he was going to miss them, and that's a tough place to be for such a great player.
Seven.
Yes, and if your long potting's just off, basically you're relying on mistakes from your opponent and sometimes missing when they're in, which Neil Robertson did a couple of times yesterday.
12.
I'm sure Ronnie would like to get a head of steam on here and keep Neil in his seat as long as possible. don't know whether the black may just be available. I think the pink may be on. He's just got to be careful he doesn't run into this second red that's near the top cushion here.
Thanks.
Well, he's played for
13.
the black. He's played it beautifully. Made that look easy. It was anything but. Little cannon on the red now to the right of the black. And that now clears the black for both corners.
20.
He
21.
sees everything so quickly. He sees the little cannon. He's playing a few shots in front and picks up the potting angles very quickly. Of course, when he's at full speed, it can be very disruptive for his opponent because the frame's over in the blink of an eye. Slightly out of position here, though. I'm going to play for something in the centre pocket.
Yeah, maybe
28.
not the best, but he can just cue past the black. Red onto the left middle, or one to the right middle.
$29. $36.
A little shake of the head there from Ronnie. He wanted to be straight on this red so he could run through for the black. Got to be careful now with position.
37.
No, he's on the black, but not perfect. And running into them, and just caught the wrong
44.
red there, so just a safety.
Ronnie O'Sullivan. 44.
But as long as you pop the ball on, you get to play the next shot, and that's a pretty decent safety. You'd like to have had the cue ball tight against the port cushion, but here was the pot, and he just caught the red immediately above the black, and then not full enough. And that's why he ran out of position. Neil Robertson having a look at the possibility of making a plant here. I don't think he can get through to it. Maybe he's just worried about leaving it. Well, can he? I didn't think he could get through to it. Well, if he doesn't leave this red, he's been fortunate. He's left it.
One.
Beautiful shot. Just stroked it in off two cushions, perfect on the black. It's Ronnie O'Sullivan's second chance in this first frame.
8.
We're looking to close it out at this visit.
9.
And this time, inch perfect on the red. 64
16.
points the lead. Just needs
17.
one more red after this black. This to go 73 points in front with just 67 remaining.
25. $30. 31. 38. 39. $46. 47.
A little unlucky. Wait,
Foul.
it's a foul, yeah. Got to wait for the black to go on the spot. But the frame was over. And Neil Robertson stays in his seat and concedes, and that was just the start that Ronnie O'Sullivan was looking for. Quick fire potting, played well.
And we're suddenly enjoying our little tea break. They nearly caught me out with a bit of cake, actually, as we come back after the first frame. Yes, that's better. And that's better from Ronnie's perspective as well, because it was a difficult end to the previous session for him.
It was indeed. I mean, he should have been 4-4 for all the world. Missed that's the blue in the centre pocket, which he'd be kicking himself about. So, very important that he gets a good start. One or two people have been saying to me, were they a little bit worried about him yesterday? You know, banged the cue down with the rest of them. But he's, you know, he's not a robot. He's got to have some emotion about him. But the opening session, a few frames today, will be very important.
What do you make of what happened yesterday and the context that therefore puts on this afternoon session, Stephen?
I mean, it was incredible. He missed a red with a rest, which would have annoyed him. You seen him bang his cue. Then he missed a simple blue, you know, just not concentrating, maybe flicked a little bit of side on. But the first frame this afternoon was huge.
And Kenny, your assessment?
I think it's an important session for O'Sullivan. He must win this session, I think, if he's to have a chance to win this match. And it's a good start for him.
Well, it's interesting to hear what the boys are saying there in the studio, but I think if Sullivan drew this session, he'd still be well in the match, but he'd be looking to push on, of course. I don't think he's really interested at this moment in coming out level, even if he's behind. And the way he started, he's going to be in front for long. Oh, it is fast, this cloth. You see that white going down. Even Ronnie was in doubt for a minute. Another inch possibly, and he would have been bridging over the yellow.
Well, I did the first session yesterday, and the first few frames, the table looked almost unplayable. It looks a bit better today. I think one of the main reasons that Ronnie, when he was nearly ran too far off that opening red, it didn't go in the middle of the pocket. And that's the fractions, isn't it, Terry, we're talking about. If you hit them in the middle of the pocket, usually you judge the pace. If it goes in one side or the other, you can run the hitter over it quite easily.
14.
Yeah, with the picture these players form in their mind before they hit the ball. If that changes, obviously, the touch, they're not thinking how hard to hit the ball at all. There's all by instinct with the top players.
21. 22.
And I think there's a sense out there with the audience today that they know this is a big match. These are two of the players that many are tipping to go on possibly and win the title this year.
Well, considering he seemed to hit it absolutely perfect, not many of these reds moved, did they? You always look for that easy red to continue, and deciding on this one, just got to be a little bit careful with this. Nice angle. Played it well. It's one of those, isn't it? It's quite easy sometimes just to catch him a little bit too thin or too thick, but perfect on the black.
And you give that shot a lot more time than you with that rest. He knew it was an important shot. If he got it, he's in the balls again. Keep his opponent on the chair thinking.
Boy, his heart was in his mouth there. Look at that red going towards the right middle. It just caught the jaw. Would have been unlucky to go in, but on a bad day, these things happen.
$36.
He's okay. A slightly awkward bridging, but You have to go down for a ball colour here. You feel that Ronnie O'Sullivan, when the balls are open,
41.
if he goes down for a ball colour, he comes out in a rush. So good long
42.
pink and black area. A beautiful touch Johnny's got when he's in the balls. You know, he hardly touched that, but he seems he plays sometimes with the hand of a sculptor, doesn't he? And the other thing which is very
47.
noticeable when you're watching him play, he's got such a presence in the room.
Just going into that
52.
a little bit too much. He can still pot this red, but wanted to be straighter than this. But no problem. He's firing on all cylinders at the moment, is the rocket.
He's in total control of everything around him.
58.
Including himself. And that's the key to Ronnie's success. I haven't seen him this happy for a long
59.
time, John. With this season, he's been excellent. Backstage, he's just like anybody else, has a fun and a joke and seems to be enjoying his game again.
There you see it, 66 ahead, 67 remaining. Pot's disc is 67 ahead with only 59 left. There's another frame in the bag in double quick time. From the last frame in just over 12 minutes, this one has only been going 5.5 minutes.
$74. 75.
Not much anyone could do about this.
He just seems to hit the cue ball. It knocks the red in
82.
and ends up perfect on the balls every time. And
83.
when you're in your seat, it makes it look so easy. It must be difficult for your opponent. But I must say, when he plays like this, he just leaves you breathless with a game to raise the heart rate to a gallop. He's just superb.
89. 90.
So still a chance of 100. Needs a good kiss. Not quite.
97. Foul. Robertson 4.
Well, he's putting off on purpose. What a wonderful frame again from Ronnie O'Sullivan on that 97. Of course, he's won the first two frames now. Now he's back level again. It's 5 each.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, for me, he's the most brilliant snooker player I've ever seen in my life.
Ronnie O'Sullivan is the best player I've ever played in my career.
Unbelievable what he does. Makes the game look ridiculously easy.
If he could apply himself the way that some of the others have, then, well, he'd have broken every single record in the book.
He's still underachieved, even though he's won so much in the game.
Left, right-handed, doesn't care.
Ronnie, fast. You know, when he makes breaks, he's never out of position.
Best I've ever seen by far, but off the tail strings.
When he is there, he tries his best and he puts on a good show.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, oh my God, what one do you want?
I've always respected him as a player and as a man as well.
Ronnie's Ronnie. I mean, you never know what you're going to get, same as on the table.
Not many people I'd pay to watch, but he'd be one of them.
And when you think about the first couple of frames, quick fire, as you said, Ken, and well, Neil's only notched up, what, 11 points in the first couple of frames?
He hasn't even settled into his chair yet, Hazel, and he's already at the match is level. 2 frames in quick succession, just exactly what Ronnie O'Sullivan wanted.
Well, this time Ronnie has left a chance of a pot for Neil Robertson, but whether he can play it as a shot for nothing and miss a cannon on the red and black, it looks as though he can. Close, but it's not easy when you've been sat in your chair for the first 2 frames and never really had much table time. That's one of the hard things about this game of snooker.
Well, that will give Neil some encouragement, because if he sees Ronnie O'Sullivan knocking the balls, long balls in, and him missing them, that will really deflate him. Long pot success is quite close at the moment, 67% each, as we look at Hawkeye. So you can't get to that red, really.
Foul.
He's close to the red, and it's a foul. Jan Verhaas has touched that red, I'm afraid.
Well, we see it so many times, don't we? A player stretching over, they look so close, and I think that's probably the first one we've seen called. Jan Verhaas had a close look, he called foul. And that gives the opportunity for Ronnie to play the shot that Neil Robertson was about to play, and he's played it perfectly. Now, he may not decide to play a cannon here, because he'd like to get that red that's just to the right of the black out of the way and make the black available into both corners. It depends how he see it. No better break builder in the game than Ronnie O'Sullivan. His decision.
Six. Seven.
There is a red just sticking out
14.
from the bottom of the cluster. You can see it there.
15.
So, pot the black, leave yourself low on that red, and in potting that red, bring other reds into play. That should be the plan.
$22. 23.
No disrespect to Neil Robertson, I think he's a wonderful player, but you get the feeling here you'd want Ronnie to stop potting him. It's so great to watch. There's a peacefulness about him around the table, isn't there? You can see it. He's looking very sharp, but he's very calm and collected, decisive.
No. If he plays the black, he's going to have to put a touch of right-hand side on if he's playing the cannon. Make the black missable. But nothing looks missable at the moment. But looking at Ronnie's body language, I think he may be unlucky here.
38.
He's hit them nice enough, but I think they're all covering one another. He's no pot on. Little unlucky.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
But as I say, as long as you don't miss a pot when you're in, at least you get a chance to play a safety, although he's given Neil Robertson a chance to go for this red. It's a tough one, but he'll take anything at the moment.
Well, he's yet to pot a ball in this session, and he hasn't potted one for coming up to 24 minutes. That's a long time.
The red to the left of the pink is on. Well, he's deciding to play it. Could have played safe, decided that that red, if he knocked it in, would win him the frame, but now he's left it. He'll sit down in his seat, wondering whether it may cost him the frame. Decent chance this. He doesn't have to be opening any reds. Ronnie O'Sullivan already done that for him when he was unlucky not to finish on one. As we say, it's not easy when you've been sat in your chair most of the time. And he's not played that inch perfect. I think there may be an alternative to the right corner. He played for the one in the left corner, but he'll be hampered by the blue.
Well, this is different. He's placing the rest obviously away, the shaft of the rest away from the blue to make sure he doesn't foul it. And he's lining it up with the head, obviously, of the rest. It's a straight shot, so there's not too much to line up there.
But you haven't got much drawback on the cue if the rest head's so close to the cue ball.
And he's only going to drop it in, of course, for the black, which does help. Looks rather awkward, though. He's going to pick that, I'm afraid. As soon as he hit it, he knew.
But then you always got the feeling, because he didn't have a lot of cue between the rest head and the cue ball, you definitely saw it jump. He was going to be jabbing it a little bit anyway. And of course, the fact it didn't run through means he's not on the black. Will he go for the blue? He's a tremendous potter, but there's a lot of pressure on this one, having lost the first two frames. This is a big shot.
How good was that? I said earlier on he'd been sitting out for, what, nearly 25 minutes before he got this chance, and he's a great match player. I've got nothing but respect for this man. Well, that's amazing.
Robertson.
He'd miss one of those once a month. But that's no help to him now.
Yes, very surprising after the blue he potted, but maybe once he'd potted the blue and thought that's the hard shot out of the way, he just switched off slightly, and you can't do that. They make it look so easy as Ronnie's done the first two frames, but you've got to be so accurate. And Ronnie came to the table with a 32-point lead, make that 33 now, and the reds are nicely spread. Could be another frame in the bag. You'd be surprised if it wasn't, let me put it that way.
6. Seven. $13. 14.
Well, he gave Neil Robertson a chance this frame, which unfortunately
20.
Neil Robertson didn't make the most of. 52 points to lead. The black
21
will now put him 60 points in front with just 59 remaining. And you don't think Neil Robertson will get another chance in this frame, so what a start from Ronnie.
28.
As I say, he gave Neil a chance, put it a great blue. But did he think that was the frame winner, and then just took his eye off the next red? Didn't give it enough due care and attention.
$35. 36. $41. 42. 49.
The first two frames, Ronnie won on his own account. On this one, we've seen Neil Robertson make a foul when he was playing a long red, which let Ronnie in for his first contribution of 38. And then, of course, Neil Robertson missing the red when he was in, which at this standard is always going to be costly
57.
when you're in amongst the balls. And that's let Ronnie in for this break of 57 and counting.
59. 62. Foul, thank you.
Oh, Ronnie said he fouled it, he double hit it. As the cue ball was coming back off the brown, it touched the cue, he declared it didn't matter, the frame was over. They played three. Ronnie has won all three of them. He now leads 6-5.
Yes, and at 3 world champions with me, how disconcerting a start is this for Neil Robertson?
Well, when you're playing Ronnie, it's hard not to get carried along with the whole occasion because he's so good to watch, he's so dominant around the table, the crowd get involved, they love to watch him, and it's hard not to, like, when you get a chance to be sort of rabbit in the headlights, and Neil missed a red that he's been potting with the ice shot all week, so he's really got to get a frame quickly on the board.
Yeah, because obviously there was pressure on this shot, John.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect it, just flicked a bit of side on, overcut it. The thing when you're playing Ronnie as well is how quickly the scoreboard changes. You're sitting there 5-3, you may have played 1 or 2 poor shots, all of a sudden you're 6-5 behind.
Yeah, there was that mistake, and earlier on, Ken, there was the incident in which he was just about to get on the board and he fouls with a waistcoat, and all of that just disturbs the concentration, I'm sure, when you're out there.
Of course it does, but the worst thing you can do is panic. I mean, he's only 1 frame behind. Big frame for Neil Robertson, but I mean, he's gonna get chances. He's just got to make the most of them, but the worst thing you can do is panic.
Neil Robertson's break.
I'm not sure you get enough time to panic. The games go so quickly. Very interesting to hear Stephen Hendry's way we're playing against O'Sullivan there. Well, it's only a half chance for Neil Robertson, but he'll know now that he's got to find something now.
Just seeing if the pink is available. Be playing this red to the right corner. I think the black's onto the same pocket, but if he plays for the pink, this red is the only one he could leave. If he missed it. This is the worst possible start for the Australian. He's looking decidedly uncomfortable out there at the moment. And it can happen to the best of them. And he is one of the best of them, no doubt about it.
Eight.
There's nobody really that plays with his speed and grace around the table, and at times I watch him play and I feel it's like my grandchildren play with these toys and they've got a remote control and the cue ball just seems to go around all the time and he's got another easy shot to play. It's just magic.
17.
He's on this red
24.
To the right corner. He's got one to the left middle. Depends how he sees this. The one thing he wants to be certain of is being on the next colour. Doesn't want to take any risks and not be on anything. He's just looking to see if he can just stun this in and get position on the pink. It's a delicate little shot if he plays that. Oh, two reds, but it doesn't matter. But a little bit awkward if the pink doesn't pot, and I don't think it does into the corner, so this blue's a little bit tricky. Well, just floated it in. I think you see there, Terry, the confidence he's playing with when he plays 31. That type of shot.
Dead centre, beautifully played. So got a bit of work to do though off this blue. Just having a look now if the red passes the brown. Must be tight.
Yeah, it looks very straight on this blue. I think the red does pass the brown, but can he force over behind it? Oh, he could. Needs a bounce. That's good.
37.
Well,
37.
That is a surprise. That is a surprise. I'm quite certain what happened there. It clearly went. Probably more concentrated on leaving a nice angle on the blue and took his eye off the pot.
It's quite noticeable so far that when Ronnie has missed, that he hasn't left Neil Robertson something easy to go at. When Neil misses, it seems that Sullivan's been left with good chances. These are the shots we see Neil Robertson knock in time and time again, but he's under pressure here, John.
Yes, and it's something that, unless you've been there, it's hard for people to understand, but Ronnie's been quick out of the blocks, and I won't say Neil Robertson's panicking, but he's just under a little bit of pressure to score.
Well, let's look back, and he worked so hard to get his lead from yesterday's first session, and then he comes out, and by the time he's filled his glass up to have a drink, he's lost 3 frames, and you know, it's a shock to the system. He'd be coming out, you know, with a plan, thinking that if I could, you know, start off well and start to push some pressure on Ronnie O'Sullivan, next thing you're well behind.
Well,
to measure that, Ronnie.
Trying to hold the pink spot, but if the pink goes in between the cue ball and the red, he won't be on the red to the right corner. That's a little bit careless, and I don't think there's any other spots available. He's going to be snookered on the red he wanted to be on. He just let the cue ball run through a little bit.
No, it doesn't, but it goes nearest to it. So.
Yep. Ronnie's saying, oh, what have I done? Because he thought there may be another spot available. He just wants him to hold on. Ronnie's very annoyed here that he's made that error.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 7.
Well, I'll tell you what, annoyed or not, he couldn't have played a better safety shot than that.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. He was a bit disrespectful then to a referee. Trying to rush him and he had an awkward placement of the pink. Just behind the shot in line, of course, with the black.
Turn them off now, please.
Neil often got a bit upset with that, whether it went off just before he was striking or during the strike. Either one is can be destructive.
Close. Wasn't an easy shot, that. And maybe the blue has come to his rescue, I don't know, for that red. But the one near the top cushion may be cuttable. Well, let me put it this way, it must be very tight. And there you see it. I don't think he can get through to it, and he's having to play safe. So Ronnie, as it always seems to happen, just a little bit of run the ball, and knowing that's a mistake. That's a mistake from Neil. OK, may not have left the pot, but leaving Ronnie with his hand on the table, you expect him to play a lot better safety shot than that. Well, I suppose there is a containing safety if you just roll to this red that's closest to the top cushion. But your heart would be in your mouth playing it that slowly to try and leave the cue ball near the cushion. I think he's desperately looking for a possible pot, but there isn't one on. If he tries to get back to balk, he's going to do very well to achieve that. Well, he played the containing safety, but he was always going to leave a red to the left middle for me, and one that will certainly tempt Ronnie, I'm sure. He may also have left one to the far right corner, but one to the left middle looks like the one you can play with confidence and not leave much should you miss it, and if you get it, could win the frame.
And you can't get closer than that without it going in. Especially the weight he played it. You can see he's going towards the far knuckle. It's pulling back slightly with a nap, but not quite enough.
So this is a big shot for Neil. If he can knock this in, it'll give him a great chance in this frame. But it's just not happening at the moment. Quick look to see whether he's left the red to the left centre. If he has, that's careless. I don't think he will have done. Mid-session interval after this frame. So psychologically, if Ronnie O'Sullivan could win it, Neil would go back to the dressing room with no positive thoughts whatsoever.
Well, that's given him some hope, I must say. That, if that had gone in, as John said, it'd probably been all over. But Ronnie's missed one or two in this frame. Not easy shots by any means, but he feels sometimes when you're his opponent out there, he's never going to miss anything. He's got that way about him. They say champions can find something out there and start to play well, even when they're playing and feeling at their worst. Well, it's just about the situation this man is in now.
One.
Played for the pink. Into the left corner, so he's underdone it. So he's got the blue on, but they're still testing shots. Would like to have been a lot easier than this.
Six.
Good pot, but slightly out of position again.
Yes, and if the red doesn't pass the yellow, he's not good at all. As you say, normally a blue that he'd knock in, but he was a bit anxious when he played it, and that's why he's not good on the red. Thin cut to the left middle here. He's got it.
7.
Still not inch perfect though, with his positional play.
He's such a fabulous potter of balls once he gets going, and is a great asset to have as a snooker player, because you can see he's a little bit edgy with his position, not quite timing it yet. But if you keep knocking him in,
13,
it's a bit easier.
Just get the feeling this is a big moment in the match for Neil Robertson. I know this is only halfway through the second session of this best of 25, but he was desperate to get a frame on the board this afternoon, and this is his chance, but he's got to really dig deep and hold himself together. You could feel it. You could just feel the tension in the
Robertson,
air.
21.
You just feel it.
Well, he got back in position a few shots ago, but well, you wouldn't have thought he would have missed that pink in the middle.
1.
It was just the way he was walking around the table. He seemed to be going a little bit quick, and as Stephen said in the studio, sometimes you can get carried away, and then all of a sudden you finish up playing at Ronnie's pace.
6.
Never happened to me, I've got to be honest.
This blue will put him 35 points in front, so he'll only need the red.
$12. 13.
So this black to go 43 points in front with just 35 remaining. The absolute perfect start. Okay, last couple of frames, Ronnie's made a few mistakes.
20.
I think in this frame, maybe took a shot on
21.
Which you would think twice about, but he's so full of confidence and he really is feeling good.
Yes, but he started so well, John. I mean, any sort of
28.
mistake, you know, from him that we feel he started to play a little bit worse than
30.
he should be, but he's so good when he's good that You feel it's a little bit of a shock when he plays a bad shot.
33.
But overall, this session has been a superb exhibition from Rory O'Sullivan of how to come back at opponent.
37.
Some excellent play, and the quality of his performance so far probably falls into the category of masterclass.
42.
So it's quick fire stuff from Ronnie O'Sullivan. We haven't been here long, but the interval's already with us. And Ronnie O'Sullivan has won all 4 frames and now leads by 7 frames to 5.
And just counting them up, Neil Robertson has potted 46 points worth in those 4 frames and must be a bit shell-shocked at the moment. What is the problem from where you stand about what's been happening out there?
It just looked a bit desperate to get a frame on the board in the last frame. He was potting the balls, not one went in the middle of the pocket. And then when you're concentrating so hard on making the pot, then your position goes as well, so you're never in perfect position. So you just try too hard.
How can he resolve this, Kenny?
Well, you know, probably the interval has come at a good time for him. He's got to really try and forget about what's happened. The thing about it is that he has got a few chances, but as Stephen said, you know, unless you get that first frame on the board, even though it is the second session, you haven't really settled. I mean, these balls that we're watching that Robertson has missed, these are, you know, 10 out of 10 shots for him under normal circumstances. We wouldn't have seen him miss that many pots in the whole of the first session. So he's a little bit shell-shocked, if you use the boxing analogy, probably a little bit punch-drunk at the moment. He hasn't settled at all, but the interval has come at a good time. He can just regroup, go back to his dressing room, and then, you know, next frame is...
Well, that's actually a point. Whether he will go back to the dressing room, I think he might go and have a few shots, to be honest with you, because he's not really had any table time. If I was him, I'd be going in and just trying to loosen my arm a bit and get used to hitting the back of the leather with a few shots just to get yourself back into the swing of it.
We saw an absolutely devastating second session from Ronnie against Mark Williams, and that's where he did the damage the last time against him. Looks pretty ominous there. In terms of dangerous factor, where is he here on the scale today?
Well, Ronnie will sense that Neil's not taking his opportunities, and that'll just fill him with more confidence. And if he thinks he's not going to get punished, he's just going to play even quicker, play with even more confidence, and be even more dominant.
Okay, well, I am hearing actually that John's absolutely right. That Neil Robertson went immediately, did not even go near his dressing room, straight into the practice room. In fact, there he is right now, just trying to, as John says, get the arm loosened up a bit and trying to find some rhythm, because that's what's been so lacking out there.
Just get used to the sound of a ball in the pocket. Honestly, I mean, as Stephen said, I mean, good point. Everything was, the ones that were going in were wriggling in there. They weren't hitting any leather, so it's a good idea to go in and do that.
Okay, at 7-5 now to Ronnie O'Sullivan. We've got 4 more frames to enjoy. And in fact, it's actually a long day for these guys, because they've only got a couple of hours break and then they're straight back out there for the last session. You know, normally there's a bit of a break between the sessions at this point. It's a big ask today, Ken.
Yeah, I was only talking to Stephen earlier about it, that there is one anomaly in the whole draw, that there has to be a session followed by the next session. And if the session goes a little bit late, sometimes there might be only a turnaround of a half an hour or even an hour. And that can be very, very tiring, particularly if the match goes the distance. I can tell. But the way this match is going, I mean, those first 4 frames, less than an hour, this could be over within another hour.
It could be afternoon tea for them, actually, very soon. All right, well, speaking of afternoon tea, I'm sure Ronnie's enjoying his half-time cup of tea, as we see Neil Robertson, rather, is out there having a bit of a practice. But whilst they do that, it's round 8 of 10 to come now in our Snooker Loopy pub quiz, and it is appropriately named because it's starting to drive everyone just a little bit bonkers now.
Right, what we're going to do now, we're going to have another jump up and down round. Jump up and down. If it's too much hassle, you're too down old. Right, number 1.
Are they the same terminology thing?
Do we have to say yes this time, or do we just stand up? No, these I am just going to give you. Hold on, right up if I get the right page. Right, I'm just going to give you the questions, and you're going to give me the answers. Okay. All right? Keep tabs, will you please, at the back. 4 Australians have appeared in the final since 1927. 1 was Eddie Charlton, 1 was Neil Robertson. Name the other 2.
Yep, Horace Lindrum and Walter Lindrum.
No. 1 mark. You can have 1 of them.
Warren King?
No. All right. Over here. Horace Lindrum and...
Walter.
Yes.
What's hold on.
Simpsons. Number 2.
Refereed by Viking.
Ray Reardon won the title 6 times. Can you name all of his opponents? Give me one.
Higgins.
Higgins.
Spencer. Spencer.
Perryman.
I said Perryman.
Perryman.
Spencer.
2 points.
Spencer.
He said Perryman.
Any more?
Spencer.
What? No Spencer, no.
Pullman.
Who's he beaten in the final? Yes.
Pullman. No.
I've got Pullman already.
Excuse me,
No, you
I
haven't.
stood up here. Come on. Jackie Ray.
Jackie Ray.
What the
I can't believe that. Jackie, it's a good answer, but it's not right. Sit down.
Here we go.
Fred Davis.
Fred Davis? No. The answers I wanted were Johnny Pullman,
Eddie Charlton.
Eddie Charlton, Graham Miles, Alex Higgins. Too damn late.
Oh yeah, Graham Miles.
Do you know what? It's like cats in here. Right. Next one, number 3. Who was the first ever runner-up at the Crucible? Quick.
John Pullman.
Wrong.
Cliff Thorburn.
No, too late. Cliff The rules are there.
John Thorburn.
It's just straightforward rules.
You got it right.
Lineker waiting to tap it in. Right, number 4. Who did Dennis Taylor famously beat in the 1985?
Steve Davis.
Steve Davis. For bonus mark,
Another
I need
question
all the
about
team.
Steve Davis.
For bonus mark, I need all the team to reenact the bit where Dennis Taylor. Come on, do it all together. Do it all together. Do it all together. Do it all together. Come on. Can we have it here? Can we have it? Steve Davis, please. Reenacting Dennis Taylor.
Oh, shocking.
Shocking. There's no points for that. It's like that.
Not a bit of honestly.
Next one. Number 6. When did Peter Ebdon, who did Peter Ebdon famously defeat 10-4 on the Crucible debut in 1992?
Steve Davis.
Steve Davis, well done.
Another Steve Davis question.
He's done a lot.
Quiz about
He's
Steve
done a lot.
Davis.
Honestly.
Hey, he was gutted he never got the big break game. Number 7. Despite breaking his arm before the tournament...
Stephen Hendry.
Isn't the answer... Isn't the answer... Sit down, I'm not...
1817.
Will you just calm down? Thank you. Can I continue, please? Do you know what? When I said yes to this, I thought it would be easy. Right. Despite breaking his arm...
Yes, beat Jimmy White in the final. Jimmy missed the black off the spot. 1817. Another sickener for the boys.
Not what I'm after.
Thank you. Sit down and we'll listen to the end of the question. Listen to the question.
Wait! Sit down!
It was his left arm. If it had been his right, he'd have never won it.
All right. Oh!
I'll tell you what's going to be a nice day
What's
tomorrow.
going on? I hope your voice can edit. Right.
He slipped in the bag.
Will you please?
He slept in a bag.
Number 7.
He was taking for breakfast. He had a sling on.
The floor was wet.
Did he put one of those things in the bath and shower?
Dave Barrel.
Thank you.
It was part of the show.
Who played Inspector Morse on television? Who played Inspector Morse on television?
John Thorpe.
There you go. It's got nothing to do with Queen. I'll get you back. Right. Despite breaking his arm.
Right.
Yes, I remember starting this a while ago.
His arm.
Stephen Hendry claimed his 4th world title in 1994.
Yeah.
Who did he beat in the semi-final?
The semi-final.
Who did he beat in the
Alan
semi-final?
McManus.
No,
Quick, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Steve Davis.
Correct!
Yeah! Steve Davis. I'm so glad you're here.
He's very good. He's very good.
Who is this Steve Davis anyway?
Next one.
It's a generic term for
He's
players.
on our team.
True or false? Before every match he plays,
True.
John Parrott sings "You'll Never Walk Alone" in his dressing room.
False.
Easy, Tiger. Next.
I'd have a leg off if I
Correct.
want to do that.
Next. Yeah. Number 8. Who has made the most century breaks in a ranking event? It was 2002 and it was 16. Who is it?
John Higgins.
Wrong.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Wrong.
Stephen Hendry.
Correct.
Thank you.
Who holds the record for the most century? Wait till I say the full question. For for the most centuries in a Crucible match. It was Stephen Hendry versus somebody else. Who was he playing?
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
No, he wasn't. It was 2011. Who was he playing?
Oh,
yes.
Mark Williams.
No.
David Gray.
No.
Oh,
I think you'll find he was a pop star with
No,
what
he
we had.
wasn't. No.
Correct. No.
2011.
Who did he have a load of centuries against him?
It was 13-4. The other person beat Hendry. Quick.
Sean Murphy.
Oh.
No.
No.
Oh, all right.
What have we got?
13-4. Oh, I know. Mark Selby.
Mark Selby.
He only had 7 goals.
He
only had
3.
7. How many?
You shouldn't really get
There's
any
only one
points.
person left in the top 10.
Earlier on they had
How did you
detention
get
span. And this is without alcohol. This is with pop. Right. Number 14. Who won the only Crucible third place playoff? Yes.
John Virgo.
Eddie Charlton.
Eddie Charlton.
Oh, yeah, right.
Sure, you have to take their first answer.
No.
Yeah, but the thing is,
seeing as how you didn't
I've
have
had lots
one.
of Steve Davis questions here.
Right,
Give them a chance.
Eddie
And
Charlton.
I love that shirt.
Thank you.
It's a lovely shirt. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And here's the last one. If the first line was, well, complete the rest of this song. Pop the reds then, screw back.
For the yellow, green, brown, blue.
Pink and black. There you go.
Ah, there you go. He knows all the classic boys.
Right, at the end of that frivolity and jumpiness, the DJ scored 8.
8.
Yes. That's how we talk about it. But scoring 7, the good, the bad, and the ugly at the end of that round, people. We have 68 plays 72.
Closing the gap.
Closing the gap. Fine margins. Fine margins. See how well we do the dingbats.
Yeah, it's 4 points in it, and Stephen Hendry slightly grimacing at that as he takes a peek into his broadcasting future.
Said, no, that I'm retired. Is that my future?
That's it.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I hope you're going to get your general knowledge up to date, because we're going to be testing that very soon. You know, we're always very keen to get high-profile guests to the Crucible, and they come in their droves every year for this championship. In fact, the other day we had a visitor who is no stranger to tension in his own field, in fact, but it's at the Oki. 3-time BDO darts champion Martin Adams, although you probably know him better as Wolfie.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, making his Crucible debut this evening, the 3-time BDO Darts World Champion, Martin Wolfie Adams.
Well, only a 3-time world champion could arrive at the Crucible and get straight into one of the hot seats. Martin Wolfie Adams, 3-time BDO world champion. What are your first impressions of the cauldron that is the Crucible?
Well, I can see what I call it, a cauldron. I mean, it's so close, isn't it? I mean, it's very much, you know, like the front rows at the lakesides. You know, they're there with you. You know, so I mean, for the players here on the tables, they must feel like the crowd's there with them. You know, got to be fantastic atmosphere when it's full.
You've seen a little bit of the snooker here this week. It gets awfully tight at the end, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yeah. Well, it's quite tight when I've watched today. I mean, absolutely brilliant stuff. One guy thinks he's won it, and the other guy's giving himself some chances, and he goes, oh, I might win it now. There's a lot of pressure involved in it, a lot of pressure.
Can you see quite a lot of similarities in the pressure and the mental strength it takes to get across the line in darts and in snooker?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. I mean, having, you know, played in a lot of tight matches over the years, you know, you think you've got it, and then it's there in your hand, and then it's gone. And it can be the same thing on the snooker table. You know, you think you've got it, you're cruising, one just slightly off shot, rattles in the drawer of the pockets, and it's gone. Just like that. Amazing.
Now, one of the similarities is that the snooker players now come on to music, as you guys do in such fine style, but once the match starts, of course, it's total silence here, whereas the noise continues at Lakeside. Would you find that intimidating, that level of quiet, if that was the case in darts?
I think initially, yes, but I think it's something we quite easily get used to. But myself, I like a general buzz in the crowd, you know, a little bit like we've got at the moment. People just chit-chat, chit-chat, chit-chat. Nothing loud, but just that general buzz in the crowd, and that's what we like in the darts. So, yeah, if it was total silence, yeah, we could get used to it, but it'll take a little while.
Is it bigger than you thought it would be, the arena, or smaller?
it looks a lot bigger on television. So yeah, I can see why they call it, you know, the cauldron, as we said. You know, it's quite enclosed, really, almost bordering on a little bit claustrophobic, dare I say it. But no, fantastic thing, absolutely fantastic.
Well, come back for the final and we'll get you some tickets. We've enjoyed having you up here today.
He got a lovely welcome, did Martin. Great to see him here. Claustrophobic, I think that absolutely sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? For other sportsmen to come and see the absolute theatre of dreams for you guys must be a real treat, you'd imagine.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, first time I came here, I was 14 years of age, and I sat there watching Cliff Thorburn play Doug Mountjoy, and the dividing wall came down the middle, and I went, wow, that's close. And then when you see them walking around, then the first time you play here, and you hear them breathing on the front row behind you, then you know you're, you know, a really intimate venue.
Do you have to prepare yourself mentally in any different way for those early rounds than you would normally do when you get into the one-table setup?
It's when you go to other venues that have got two tables, you seem to notice the other table more, but with the Crucible, it's just what you expect. It's part of the first week at the Crucible. You know that there's a table on the other side, and you're so focused. It's a world championship. You don't really pay attention. And
actually, you know, when you think about the darts, and part of the noise and the furore and the fun of it is all the people there, clearly, and it's a real event down there at Lakeside, I know that, but it is still remarkable that you can keep such a reverential hush during games like that at the Crucible, isn't it?
I know, sometimes it can be very, very loud at the Crucible when you walk out, the atmosphere, but sometimes when you're sitting in that chair, it can have a sort of eerie sort of silence, and that's just as frightening. And we've all witnessed, you know, both sides of the coin. But that's what makes the Crucible special. It has a special atmosphere that no other snooker venue has around the world. And that's why it's the home of, you know, the snooker home.
You have to make one slight adjustment. I always felt that when you played it, you had to keep sort of one ear on the other table, because you could hear someone's going to make a century and you were down on the shot, you knew it was coming, so you might stand back, have a little look, short your cue.
Well, that's what happened the other day when we were both playing, and I could hear 96, and all of a sudden, you know, I just had to look around, and Stephen, of course, was on the maximum, so I stopped straight away and waited, because we knew what was coming then, you know. It
was a great moment, I must say, and you were first. Of course, you and Neil were round the corner to say congratulations that day. It was a great day, I must say. Well, speaking of Neil, as you know, he's been practising during the interval, and there he is, just completing that practice. I know his brother Mark's been here helping him out, from Australia, in fact. And, you know, a friend of mine always says, what other people think of you is none of your business. An intriguing thought, I know, but I wonder what Neil Robertson thinks of this from his colleagues.
Very lazy. I lived with him in Leicester for about 1.5 years and never ever used to see him at the snooker club.
Always well prepared, always gives 100%.
He's very technically sound. He's got a ramrod straight cue action, full of confidence.
Very, very confident, tremendous long putter.
Neil's changed completely. I think he went from being unbelievably attacking to he's probably an all-round kind of match player now.
Cracking long potter. Neil hasn't really got a weakness. He looks a bit like Shaggy out of Scooby-Doo.
He's a great competitor, great will to win.
Greatest player to come out of Australia.
Always conducts himself very well.
Neil, in the last 2 years, is probably the most improved player. His whole game now, every part of it is just very, very strong.
Raggy!
Trust Mr. King to come out with something like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. All right, long potting specialist, you've heard all of the thoughts about him. Never mind long potting, he just wants to get some potting this afternoon because he's been kept off this table by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Back to Terry and John for 4 more frames of this fascinating quarter-final.
Come on, England.
Thank you, Hazel. Someone shouting, come on, England. Neil saw the funny side of that.
Frame 13, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
4 more frames to be played in this session. And at the start of it, I was saying that it's important you felt that Ronnie got a good start. Well, he got that. And now if we're going to see a classic match, Neil Robertson needs to get a little foothold in this, because it's slipping away slightly at the moment.
Can we please switch them off now?
That's ridiculous. I mean, how many times have people asked about the mobile phones? Anyway, he's got up, off the shot, prepare again. It's not what he needs. He must feel at the moment that the world's against him. He's made a foul, he's missed a couple of easy balls, he's not got a frame on the board. It's hard work for him out there at the moment.
He hasn't reached his B game yet, John, and on his A game, and he may get away with that a little bit against some other players, but not against a Sullivan on form. He'd be fully aware of what he's got to do now, and he'll be putting some effort in, but what he's got to be careful of is once you start to try too hard, it all goes away from you. You've just got to let it happen.
A little bit thick. And once again, not really putting any pressure on Ronnie's safety here. You leave Ronnie with his hand on the table, you expect a better quality safety than that. Well, we didn't get one. That's careless, to a bought colour. Straight red on, but I don't think anything's looking too easy for Neil at the moment. He's looking for an easy starter.
It's a poor shot from Ronnie. He's left the red on in the centre now. There's no pressure really on that safety shot. Just got to touch too much side on the ball and caught the blue on the way back. Neil must be thinking, when am I going to get a very easy leave on after he makes a mistake, because it does seem he's had a few awkward ones. Played that okay though. We often say in commentary that if a player gets like 2-all from this situation, ends up 9-7 down, it's not the end of the world, but when you're playing out there you don't really think about those things. You play it frame by frame, shot by shot. And we've seen a match here when, well, two Welshmen were playing, Matthew Stevens and Ryan Day, and Matthew Stevens won 11 frames on the spin. Incredible. Anything can happen out there.
Just a fraction under it for the... I think the intended red was the one near the left-hand side cushion, but not really got the perfect potting angle to drop on the black, which is what he was hoping for. I think if he plays the red to the left corner, he's going to be hoping that he gets the cannon on the black, but to be honest with you, I can't really see he can guarantee that. Well, he's trying to hold for the black, and he's made a good job of it. That was a delicate shot. He played it nicely. Took a lot of nerve, that, playing at that pace. Have a look to see if the black will go on its own spot after he's potted it. He'd prefer it not to. the blue spot's available. He wouldn't mind it up there, because if it goes on its own spot, looks certain to be tied up.
He'd be absolutely devastated. And worse is to follow. Perhaps Ronnie can get this red away from the black spot if he wants. Potted and perhaps dislodge the second one. Has to be careful, of course. He doesn't want to snooker himself on the black. And didn't quite get rid of one of the reds. Black will spot, of course.
And I assume in playing that shot that the black will go into the right corner. Just coming round, have a look. It'll probably be tight, but looks as though it goes.
Nine.
Well, I think he may just be on the pink. He doesn't want to be playing the black. It's a lot thinner than he would have liked. But I think the pink's just about available. He seems to think so. It's tight. Just about got on it. But he's not perfect on this red now. Feels certain in playing this red he's going to run into the black.
15.
So it'd be a risky proposition to try and pot this red and play for the black here. Probably use the cannon off the black to go up for pink. Well, I'm surprised he played that way. But I'm also very surprised he missed the pot on the red.
There's no doubt if there wasn't a cannon involved and kissing that black in towards the pocket, he would have made that red. So Neil, after missing that black along this cushion, he's playing this red. He's back in a lot quicker than he thought he'd be.
Looking to see there's a plant in the left corner, and he obviously thinks it is because he's played for it. Pink going on the high spot available, which on this occasion is the black spot. Must be dead set, this, and it is.
8.
But not got the right position on the blue. Once again, I'll refer back to the fact that if you're not getting a lot of table time, it's hard just to get the pace of the table correctly. And trying to force a running out of balk and ran straight into the yellow. As I say, that's
13.
Pretty poor. Should have been able to avoid the yellow, you would have thought. Hit it full in the face.
Well, you're playing well out there, you seem to get a succession of easy shots, and when you're struggling, it's the opposite. And that's exactly what's happened with Neil Robertson so far in this session. He never seems to have been in prime position when he can pot 4 or 5 balls from, what, 9 inches to a foot away from the object ball. It just hasn't happened. And normally he's probably the best player in the game at what we call the recovery shot. One of these is coming up here now. But not today.
Robertson, 13.
His strong suits are leaving him down today, his long potting. And his safety play, they haven't been at their highest levels.
Well, Ronnie thinks he can squeeze this red in, can he? He can. Well, that's amazing. I think Neil Robertson just assumed that that red wasn't available. was tight, but there was just
8.
enough room between the red and the black.
Nine. $14. 15.
Not the best angle. He's got an angle on the pink, but he's going to have to force the cue ball up. And but if these reds break nice, could be another frame in the bag. He's not on anything easy.
21. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 21.
Well, that was a bit adventurous, expecting him to play a good safety. I suppose he was covering the right-hand side of the table, but to let that red run loose, he's tempting Neil Robertson to play the pot on this. Just flicked past the blue. Yeah, that was a good shot because it took a lot of discipline there to turn down that pot. Just get the feeling at the moment, Terry, that Ronnie is just thinking that his opponent's not going to score many, so he's pushing the boat out a little bit. Can be a dangerous thing to do.
Certainly against a player with Robertson's class, yes. And the double he took on in the previous shot when he lost position was born out of frustration. I'll say it again, John, that when O'Sullivan's playing at his best and you're watching him, anything but his best looks ordinary, very ordinary. It's still pretty good, but it just seems like that.
Where's the cue ball going? Oh! Well, if it drops in, he'd have left a long pot on for Neil Robertson. Now, in the jaws of the pocket, tough safety to play. He'll play the pot, but so much more difficult in the jaws of the pocket. Well, that was a tremendous pot. That really was. That's more like it from Neil Robertson. And he's just about on this yellow.
Once again, he hasn't got a great angle. He's checking here if he can get past the green with the cue ball, because he needs to hit it with pace to get up for the reds. And that'll throw the cue ball a little wider off to the right as it contacts the yellow.
Yeah, and the problem is when you're so close to the side cushion, not a lot you can do with the cue ball. I think that's why he's looking to just roll to the brown and leave Ronnie in trouble. Maybe snooker him on all reds.
Neil Robertson, 1.
Ronnie playing a little swerve here to get to red just below the black. It's not bad. He's avoided the cannon with the blue and left the cue ball near the side cushion. No pot on here.
Oh, that was high risk safety, I must say. He could have double kissed the red. Put it over the corner pocket. There's so many things that could have gone wrong with that one.
Yeah, and he could have hit the bump of the middle pocket and left the cue ball back down at this end. But he's left a long pot for Ronnie, and if he knocks this in the way the balls are situated, he's got a 21-point lead. This could be the frame winner. Floated it in beautifully, played it with lots of confidence.
Doesn't like the green, which is the easiest pot to course, but the blue gets him on these threads here. Still not perfect on the reds. I'm not used to seeing Ronnie slip out of position. We always talk, John, didn't we, about his great positional skills and break building. We forget how good a potter he is as well.
Well, absolutely. You can't be a top-class player unless you can pot good balls.
14.
Here we go now, 35 points to lead. And there's red, black, and one more red. And if he does that, he'll win 5 in a row. Didn't play the cannon on the red along the top cushion. He knows he only needs the one red. Another glance at the scoreboard. 43 ahead at the moment. 43 remaining.
23.
And that going in means he's 44 ahead now with just 35 left. Make that 49 and nicely on the red. 28. So this is a dream start for Ronnie.
29.
How about this for a touch?
36.
Well, a little bit short. I thought it was going to be perfect. No bother about the yellow, he wasn't interested in it, he just wants to get the balls racked up again.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 36. Okay, Neil?
And Neil Robertson concedes, so they played 5 frames in this afternoon's session, and the Rocket has won them all. Neil Robertson on the back foot, 8-5 down.
And this is getting more difficult to fathom, guys, because Neil Robertson is just not at the races today, despite going in there for 15 minutes practice and trying to get himself loosened up, John.
No, he's not there at the moment, and it's a very worrying time in the match for him. What have we got? A few frames left to play in this session, 3 to go. Probably needs to win 2 of them, I would think.
Stephen, your impressions of the way Ronnie has played this afternoon?
Well, he started off like a train, but he's made mistakes. He's not winning the frames in one visit anymore, but he's not having to. Neil's not punishing him for any mistakes, and when he gets in, he's not getting himself in prime position, and it's starting to look a bit desperate. You know, John says he needs 2, but I think to win this match, he needs all 3.
OK, so these really are pretty difficult times for Neil Robertson. You were mentioning, Ken, when we were watching Ronnie O'Sullivan floating around the table towards the end there, particularly the percentage of long balls going in. The potting has been magnificent from him at times today.
I think we remember here maybe last year, the year before, where his long ball game was totally off, and he was missing him by quite considerable distance. But his focus, his long ball